have I got a treat for you today. Behind me here is the very latest Azimut Grande 36m, and it has an absolutely stunning interior. So let's get on board and take a proper look round. My name is Hugo Andreae, you're watching Motorboat and Yachting. Let's go and tour it. Right, let's start with a few stats. So it is the Azimut Grande 36m, it's 116 foot long and about 25 foot wide, and it's powered by a pair of 2,200 or 2,400 horsepower MTU engines. But let's get on board and have a look, because there is so much exciting detail to be seen, starting with this beach club area. So let's not waste any more time, let's get down there, have a look, and then we'll work our way from the top down. But I couldn't resist showing you this first because it is one of the highlights of the boat. Now, as you can see, this is in the down extended position. That is in fact a whole transom that folds up and over and clamps shut on here. But when you open it up, you get this fantastic beach club area. Really lovely, protected sunbed, daybed if you like. Those are just storage lockers either side, so we don't need to look in there. But imagine lying on that bed and that view at the back of the yacht with this beautiful carbon fibre sun canopy over the top, bespoke furniture, more sun pads down here. But look, let's keep going because there is so much to show and such a lot of detail. They have really gone overboard with the styling of this. So let's go all the way up to the top deck. And there are more decks than you think. So this is the upper deck, and there is still one more above it. So we're going to go all the way to the top and then gradually start to make our way down. So this is the Sundeck, completely open. We've got fabulous views all around, and we've still got a hard top over the top providing shade, and of course canopy out the back. But what a view you get from up here. We've got glass all the way around, providing a little bit of shelter from the breeze. 3 freestanding sun loungers at the aft end, a big bar area here, and straight away we can start to see some of the detail they've put into this. So enormously thick teak bar top, but rather than it just being solid all the way, they've sculpted out this little area under here. Big curves, there's a lot of curves going on in this yacht, and we'll see more and more of those as we make our way round. But look how lovely this is. Obviously we've got all the usual fridges and ice makers, and even the sink is an unusual shape. Why bother with a circular one or a square one when you can have a strange kind of comma-shaped yin and yang type thing? More detail here. We'll see a lot of these around the yacht. Little pop-up lights everywhere you go. Beautiful teak and leather finishing. Smart little oval table. But come on, let's keep going. There is so much to show you. Right, so we're now on the upper deck, and this space is absolutely spectacular. What I really love here is they've got an open fireplace. Well, not a fireplace, like a fire pit. Obviously, it's not a wood one, but you can see it has some kind of gas or ethanol or something that burns cleanly there. But how lovely is that going to be of an evening, having that flickering away in front of you? Lovely view out the back of the yacht. We've got a big dining area here. Again, curves everywhere, and all the furniture looks like it's sort of floating. You don't see any of the feet anywhere. It's all tucked away under there. So you're barely aware that they're there. So it just gives a slightly more sort of organic, free-flowing vibe. Massive teak table in the middle here. Big sunbed at the back. Again, glass in the railings, just providing a little bit of shelter from the breeze. Big carbon fibre poles holding up this sun awning. Lovely barbecue area here, twin Kenyan grills. There's plenty of space to cook for everybody on board the yacht. More sinks. And on this case, the owner has kitted it out with a kind of outdoor-indoor gym area. So we've got a, I'm not sure if it's a peloton, but it's some form of cycle arrangement there. We've got resistance bands there. We've got a weights machine here. Big TV so you can watch some sport while working out. Bar areas on both sides. And then through into this upper lounge. Another very cool space. Look, we've got doors on 3 sides of this Sky Lounge. So you've got an opening door there, we've got an opening door onto the aft deck, and then another door here. All electric, of course. I'm not sure whether they're locked or not, but oh, got to keep your finger on the button by the looks of things. But how cool is that to be able to open the whole thing up so that it feels like another open area, but then in the evening, if it gets a little bit cold, you can close them all up and have it fully sealed. Even the sofa here, massive kind of horseshoe shape, 2 little free-flowing stools, not quite sure what you call those, but they're both sort of slightly different shapes. They've really gone to town on the detailing. Look at this, even this lamp emerges. It's actually moulded into that structure there rather than being a freestanding lamp. It is all part of the design process. This goes through into the bridge deck. And what I like about this is normally these are rather sort of dark, somber, business-like places. But here they've got big windows, they've kept that nice light colour, lots of detailing here, even for all the electronics and ship's systems. It doesn't feel dark and imposing at all. And in fact, there's a little bit of a recess, so when you drop down into the leaning post for the captain, you actually get a very good view. Got huge screens in front of you, obviously, but you can still get a good gap of windscreen there. Got plenty of light, views out the side. Really very cool. Obviously you can step onto the side deck from here, so you've got really long, wide, safe decks to move along. And then another fantastic guest area here. So this is still, don't forget, we're on the raised upper deck, and a huge seating area here, twin tables, lots of teak highlights, and of course the ubiquitous sun pads with prop-up headrests. But this is the best bit of all. Here we have a hot tub. Just imagine what that is going to be like, sitting in that pool there, view out over the bow in some gorgeous bay, sun canopy overhead if you want it, or you can have full sun if you fancy getting a bit of a tan. This is clearly a technical space here, but even here the teak looks absolutely lovely, and to be honest, the quality of the stainless steel work looks more like a sculpture than the anchor handling gear, but really heavy duty stuff. So even though it's a very stylish, very fancy yacht, they don't skimp on the engineering side at all. But let's go back inside and we can start to take a look through the inside. Oh, before we do that, I wanted to show you this. How cool is this? So looks very discreet. This is going to be quite awkward to do one-handed, but if I can, let's see if I can pull that out, spin that round. Well, it's quite hard work one-handed, but how cool is that? An extra helm station. You've got one of these each side, but not just a throttle, it's really fully equipped. So you can see you've got steering, you've got bow and stern thrusters, you've even got rev counters for the engines as well as the throttles, little Furuno controls. Absolutely sensationally cool. So if we carry on down this starboard deck, steps down to the main deck area, but let's go all the way back and come in through the grand entrance in the cockpit. So the cockpit itself, very nicely sheltered. We've got full height canopy from that upper deck, providing shade down here. Another enormous teak table, and yet more of this kind of amazing organic styling and detailing. This is the wet bar here, and look at the curves going on here. And even that sort of serving area, that teak serving area, if you look, it's like it somehow has grown out of the surface and lifted up, handing you your drinks on a kind of giant teak tray. But that so could easily have been just an ordinary rectangular wet bar, but no, they've gone that extra mile to create all this detail. We've got a fridge, we've got a ice maker, sink, and a lovely little corner unit here, sort of sheltered by the staircase there, so very nicely protected from any breeze. Again, kind of floating organic shapes. And then electronic doors through into the main saloon where things really start to go over the top. Again, this low-level bespoke furniture, all curved, very kind of natural, fluid shapes. Even in the floor here, you see some of it is carpet, some of it is wood, and over here on the table it's marble. So even though it's open planned, it's kind of delineating what the purpose of this particular corner of the yacht is. And these absolutely enormous framed windows. It's all about natural light and views, and look at the size of those. They couldn't be any bigger if they tried. They're literally from ankle height all the way to above my head. And all framed beautifully. Look here, this is just a technical storage unit, I think, for various bits of audio kit, but bookmarked grain, little recesses for your fingers to get in there. Just absolutely over the top with terms of the detailing. But I love the fact that some of it is a matte finish, some of it is gloss, some of it is carpet, some of it is wood. And then dining space here. Here we've got the marble floor, we've got the marble table, all matching, freestanding kind of bucket style designer chairs. I've no idea who makes those, but they look very cool, very comfortable. And check out even the lighting overhead. You know, normally you'd just buy some kind of lighting feature, but no, here they've molded in these little sort of scalloped shapes all the way along up here, inset with little LED lights. So it's more like a piece of architecture than just a yacht. Right, let's move forward from here. Let's go to one of the highlights now. We've got a side entrance here. That's those steps coming down from the upper deck. Yeah. Let's move forward. Got the galley area here. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Got a day heads on this side, and even here on the day heads, all these door handles are absolutely exquisite. We've got little Azimut logos, almost like a sort of blade shape. They're hollowed out in the middle. And look, lovely little day heads, beautifully finished. And then through into the main event. Now this is the main deck owner's suite. And I think this is probably the coolest looking one I have seen on a boat of this size. How special is that? Again, the bed looks like it's just floating above the carpet. We've got this astonishing kind of wraparound bed head that goes all the way around it. And check out these lights here. You can see they look like they're made of alabaster or something, sort of glowing gently from within, but they run right through the bed head and then emerge out this side. Check it out, very cool. Even the the bedside tables, beautiful little curved organic shapes, and they're not even fully symmetrical, because even though it's curved on these edges, if you look, we've got a little sharper corner there. So nothing is as simple or as easy or as obvious as it could be. They've just gone that extra mile to create. It's almost like they thought that would just be too easy, too predictable. Why do we do that? Let's do something that's a real nightmare to actually manufacture, but will just look and feel that much more special. And it really does pay off. Look at this desk over here, for example. Massive picture window, and then the desk itself, rather than just being, again, a sort of fully built-in side unit, they've created a bespoke piece of furniture that looks somehow very light, very minimalist, and the lamp itself is actually sort of sprouts from the desk. Just a lovely piece of design. Over on this side, they've left the picture window for the full effect. A couple of bucket chairs either side. All this storage behind the bed. And again, look at this, totally unnecessary, but there's a little recess in there with a sort of royal ink blue in between. Even the cupboards themselves, there's a little lip, rather than just being a flat edge. Just a little curve there, just enough to get your fingers in, open them up. And then moving forward through, obviously massive ensuite. But before we do that, just wanted to point out, look at this, looks like a big mirror in front of the bed. It is in fact a TV, but not just any old TV. We've got beautiful curved edges to it. We've got a sort of gold effect frame around it. Again, it just looks like a piece of art rather than a simple TV. And then full his and hers bathroom effect. So we've got sinks, a shared shower between the two spaces. Obviously, his and hers heads to bidet, toilet, big window. More curves here, even on the bulkhead. Sliding pocket door, so that will pop out of there if you want a bit more privacy. I won't pull it across now, but you get the idea. And then matching facilities on this side, another big sink, access to the same shared shower in the middle, and of course, another toilet compartment on this side. Pretty special. And then coming back through the yacht, we get down to the guest cabins. Very elegant curving staircase down to the lower deck. Even here you see this little kind of recess for your fingers to run down the rail that just naturally flows down with the steps. Tiny little unnecessary corner unit, but all the more lovely because of it. Look at that. Little lip there just to get your fingers in, pop it open. Another one of these lamps that appears to grow out of the surface. And let's go forward to start with. So we're now moving towards the bow. Twin cabin on this side, really good sized beds. It looks like we've got a Pullman berth up there, so you can sleep up to 3 in this cabin. Good sized window, electronic blinds that drop down. Inevitably ensuite bathroom, pretty decent size given that this is really the 4th guest cabin. There's a very similar one over on the starboard side. Big twin, plenty of space between the beds. Big hull window, curves everywhere you look. Look at the size of those doors. That's just the door into the bathroom, but look how thick that is. All helps with sound insulation, so should be a really nice quiet yacht. Ensuite bathroom, much the same. And then moving further astern, we've got the 2 big VIP doubles. That same kind of low-level floating bed, big picture window behind the bed head. More of those sort of internally lit alabaster style lights. And I really like the way the bathroom has sort of been made a feature of the cabin itself. So you can see there are sliding pocket doors that will close that off, but by leaving it open, it actually feels like a much more spacious, more voluminous cabin because you've got that extra floor space. You've got more light coming in through the shower compartment, so it just means it just feels bigger, lighter, more open. His and her sinks even in the VIP double cabin. Separate loo over on this side, so you've still got privacy even though you leave the doors open, or if you want to, you can pull these 2 pocket doors across and actually close it off. But I think that's a really clever solution. It just feels like a larger cabin than it would do if you had that fully enclosed. Big circular mirror, lovely little sofa, sort of chaise longue arrangement. And look at that little organic shaped table so you can, I don't know, sit and do your makeup or something. I just love the fact that they've added all this detail that isn't strictly necessary, but still feels really special. Another double cabin over on the starboard side, much the same, effectively a mirror effect of the last one, so I won't dwell too long, but you get the idea. Again, open to the bathroom area there. Very similar layout. Right. Let's pop back upstairs. So this leads through into the galley. Look at this. I mean, just overboard. It's almost like a sort of wave effect. So many little curves and lips and ledges. I must stop obsessing about all this stuff, but it is fun. Right, through into the galley. We've got crew access out here to the port deck so they can come and go without going through the saloon. Big fridge, freezer, American style fridge there. And even though this is very much a crew space, again, it's very nicely done. We've got kind of black marble surfaces, work surfaces, big sink, big Miele oven, induction hob, another oven or microwave, wine cooler, more fridge space here, laundry area there, and then access to and from the crew cabins. I hope they won't mind if we have a quick peek down here. Is it okay?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
You're very kind, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Look at that, having crew lunch. But I won't open the cabins, but you can see we've got all the crew cabins here. Nice little cozy crew area here. I hope everybody's getting along well.
Thank you, yes.
Thank you very much for letting us look at your yacht.
Thank you so much.
And there we go. Just one more thing to do. We might see if we can have a look at the engine room. So if we come down this port side deck, see we've got a pantograph hinge on the door here, swings open. And then if we drop down into the engine space, this is a seriously heavy duty yacht. We've got all the firefighting equipment here. We've even got an axe on the wall. Hope you never have to use that. Maybe if the guests are behaving badly. Right, technical space down here. We can see the shore power coming in. That looks like it's access out to that beach club area. Turn around, come back this way. Now this is really cool. Because of that beach club area, you clearly haven't got a tender garage at the back, but what you do have one is mounted in the starboard side. We've got a side entry tender garage. So you can see that bulkhead there, that is the starboard deck that will swing open, and then this Williams 460 jet tender. If I just poke my head around the corner, you can see it runs all the way through up there. Have to deflate the bow by the looks of things, but those tubes will very quickly re-inflate, and then it just slides out that starboard side deck into the water. Got a second slide here. This is for a jet ski, so you've got room for a really good sized tender and a jet ski, all very neatly stored and launched through the starboard side deck. And then dropping back here, we've got access to the engine room. Just need to open that. There we go. And that swings open. And then we are into the engine room proper. And look at these, a pair of big twin MTU 16Vs. Very nicely protected by these heavy duty stainless steel gauge bars. So even if you're out at sea and the engines are hot, you can lean against those and make sure you don't touch the engine. Full fuel system here. Commercial spec, so we've got day tanks, we've got starboard tanks, we've got port tanks. The whole fuel system easily controlled, labelled, marked from there. Over there, it looks like we have got water makers down below. Huge side exiting exhausts. We've got a power management system here. It's 3-phase power, but designed to take sort of pretty much any feed you want, and it will convert it and make sure that the yacht runs seamlessly, whatever power systems you have. And of course, you've got your own Kohler generators, one on each side. Very clean, very well lit, great headroom, exactly the kind of engine room a captain and his crew like to see. So there you have it. That is the Azimut Grande 36 metre. And I hope I've given you a bit of a flavour of all that extra design and detail that goes into building a yacht like this. Now, starting price for this is about 15.5 million euros, but I think in terms of volume and in terms of design detailing, it really does feel pretty special. Love to hear what you make of it. Please do let us know in your comments. And as always, thank you very much for watching.